Thank you. Thank you, Slim, for the very generous introduction on me. And what a brilliant combination of speakers and the topic, which is at a defining moment, investment outlook, global, regional, and local terms. We live in a changing world, extraordinary set of challenges and changes we are witnessing for the last 15 months. The positive side of the pandemic is clearly an opportunity. At the same time, risk and governance are integral. Social risk, economic risk, environmental risk, and the human tragedy, what we are seeing is hitherto unwitnessed. In global terms, still, the vaccination is under process. We have 10% fully vaccinated for 6.8 billion. We have done 679 million people fully vaccinated. We had an impact of 179 million people. We lost nearly 3.9 million people. Qatar itself was impacted like any other country across the globe. We have 229,000 people impacted. We lost nearly 383 people. So we have reasons to believe the risk and governance, which needs reorganizations. With the change in face of the world, we recognize we have to redefine in form and substance. The business model is getting redefined. The remedial management has been the solutions. Countries around the world align the monetary and fiscal policy. They improve the liquidity to make sure sustainable value chain is not in distortion. Debt servicing capacity is eased. Governments around the world pump trillions of dollars. So essentially, the interest rate was reduced and debt servicing is eased. And we thought the crisis over end of last year. Now, the mutants are very many. The first wave, the second wave, now possibly the third wave, which is contemplated still as a threat to humanity. In the midst, we have to recognize the defining opportunities, defining the risk, and how to create a sustainable value creation, ensuring human values and human dignity is not distorted. How do we eradicate extreme poverty? How do we bring in gender equality? How do we make sure universal education comes in? How do we ensure universal healthcare is forever to see our longevity is not challenged? Global warming and climate change, increasing sea level, increasing temperature, carbon emission, which are real threats. How do we create carbon neutral society? How do we map solutions to create a carbon neutral society? The climate revolution has been the focus. The technocrats, the politicians have to realize, and they are converging now. The last one was the G7. We have seen the reflection of future generations at stake. So we have to build this partnership. We have to build a global partnership. We need to recognize these challenges and making sure that humanity is dignified in substance. There's a beautiful saying: when you aim at short term, you cultivate flowers. When you aim at medium term, you cultivate trees. When you aim at eternity, you build humanity. And that's where there's a convergence now to lift the humanity to different prospects, making sure we create better world and better citizenship to this world. That's the principle-centered value. That's where we are in. We are recognizing the challenges. The global economic outlook has been redefined 4 times in the last 6 months. October, January, again, in April. We have global growth indicated by International Monetary Fund as 6%. Advanced economies, 5.1%, and emerging economies, developing economies, 6.7%. Now that is also getting challenged. This month, World Bank has said, no, it's not 6%, it's going to be 5.4%. Advanced economies will move from 5.1 to 5.4 again when it comes to emerging markets. Since vaccination is not in full swing, progress is not adequate, the measurement mechanism indicates it's not 6.7, it's going to be 6%. That's the economic outlook. We have seen the financial markets are nothing but gambling grounds. Look at the hawkish tone by the Federal Reserve last week, and again, yesterday, it was downplayed by the Fed channel. So, interest rate, inflation, jobless claims are all interconnected. How do we inflate the world? How do we make sure trade comes into balance? How do we make sure merchandise trade or service trade comes into action? How do we have free and fair trade comes in? How do we make sure that we have investments and financial markets are nothing but gambling grounds? As on date, that's the reflection, but that's not what it's meant for. We should have predictable measurements. We should have underlying economic fundamentals which would reflect the character of the asset class. We need to know how do we move around to ensure our return on investments are measurable, manageable. In the midst, the credit creation has to happen. We need to have business prospects. If the momentum in terms of the economic growth has to sustain, then we need to have credit creation has to take place. And that's what the bankers are involved. Financing institutions are involved. How do we create the production, manufacturing or distribution or exchange or consumptions are coming into normalcy from new normal. And that's what the challenge we all have. Commodity markets are accelerating at a different level. We have reasons to believe we need to have predictable indicators. Why is the question? Now we need to understand how the currency markets are getting interconnected with the commodity market. How do we measure them? How do we make sure the valuations which are getting redefined time and again, whether it is real estate or otherwise, what's the reflection of this crisis? We know wealth has to be protected, whether we are incrementally adding value or not. There's a huge degeneration to our personal wealth and corporate wealth, countries' wealth. So, a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of enduring values we need to commit. That's what the substance of today's deliberations. Fine combination of people, as I mentioned. The topics which are laid out by individual speakers are enlightening our mindset. And the last but not the least, making sure we have a social responsibility for reasons of sustainability. That's equally important. We have to recognize we live in an interconnected, interdependent world. We need to make sure the purpose behind our living is not distorted. That is the precise reason why we have put in this session today. And there is an excellent response from the audience. That's you. We want you to witness this session, understand the dynamics of the presenters' philosophy, and ask questions and interact and make it interesting and exciting and purposeful. Thank you once again. The speakers, I welcome